Hello! So, we're doing another unboxing video of the ArtSnacks Plus monthly subscription box. So this is actually the April box. It is now just after the start of May, but April kind of got away from me, so we're gonna open it today. I have cut this, but I don't really know what's inside, except I've seen a bunch of other people opening it up, so I kind of have a feeling of what's in there. We already got a hint of what the main product would be, and then I also have some other items off to the side here that I already had in my stash. So this video is going to be mostly unboxing this, and then I think I'm going to do a separate one to kind of play around with the supplies because it can get a bit messy. So let's dive right in. All right, so this is the April 2023 box. And I was hoping for a new paper that I haven't tried before, but I've tried a lot of paper, so it can be a tough ask. But I'm very familiar with this Paint On Mixed Media paper by Clairefontaine. It's a really great paper, really holds up well. It's a nice size, 7 by 10, so a little smaller than what we usually have in the box, but it's a really thick, strong paper, and it holds up really well without curling. So I have some other stash here of my old pack, and you can see, like, here's an example with some markers and ink. Here I used a bunch of layers and did like oil pastels, I believe, or some like wax-based pastels, a waxy China marker is what they call it. It's like a white crayon basically that goes on top. And there's paint on the bottom layer, so this really held up very well. Some more ink. And these I was just messing around with some acrylic paint, so you can see it really holds up. Like, this is relatively thick application. Just trying to test out the paper, and look at that, it didn't buckle or anything. So this is a really great paper. I also have a smaller version that I got previously in a different box. And this one I brought traveling with me, so I tried some metallic gouache. Held up pretty well with the water. Just some light graphite. You know, most of these aren't finished projects. They're just something I was messing around with. This was graphite and water-soluble graphite and some watercolor. This was pretty heavy application here of paint layers, acrylic paints, different vibrancies and like transparencies, so multiple layers on top of each other, and it held up so well. The blue is a Sharpie, like a special brush Sharpie, so it's alcohol based, and usually that bleeds through, so there was some of that, but not too bad. Just a water marker, or water-based marker, watercolor. So you can see this holds up great to really any media, so I really love this paper, and I was actually thinking about buying another one just so I'd have more, and here it is. So pretty sweet. All right, so let's dig in. So now here's where I had a little hint at what things would be, but I might get different colors than other people. So for the Plus box, you get the paper, the surface, and usually another set of something. And let's take a peek. Okay, so I'm happy because these are different colors than what I already have. So I do have some of these here. Let's show you. These are ones that I've just gotten individually. I have some other colors. That one's not a brush, but these are all brush tip ones. And I'm very glad that this is actually a jewel tone set. So this is going to be a nice complement to these. So I played with this on the paper a little bit before I got into the box. And you can see it layers pretty well, but they're a little bit muted. Not as vibrant as some of the other watercolor or water-based markers that I've used before, but pretty good. And then here I have some on the bottom row as well, and just trying to play with like layering. I'm hoping to use some of the other supplies on top of this later on. So that's cool, get to play with that. I have some other Faber-Castell Pit brushes here. So like I got some big thick ones, which are really fun, these big brushes. So that can be really fun to play with versus the ones that are more thin, or you can play together, you know, they work well. And then I also have this bullet tip white that's pretty well loved. So there's some other water-based fancy markers in here too. So Faber-Castell also makes these really nice Albrecht Dürer watercolor markers that I really like. These are dual tips. And I have at least one more, but I was playing around with them the other day, so actually using it, so I don't know where I put it. But these have a bullet and a brush, and they're water-based. Oh, that's really stuck. Look at that. So these are a higher quality. They're expensive, but they're really nice. And you know, with the Albrecht Dürer line, that these are all going to be the same color consistently across their pencils. They have a watercolor pencil and their markers. So that's really nice if you want to play around with mixed media. Oh yeah, and I have this one too. This is a really nice color, India Red. And then I also have some that are just Winsor Newton as well. And these offer a bullet and a brush. And I like that the two different sides look different as well. So it's a little bit easier for you to tell which end you're opening. This one is just marked, which isn't too bad, but it's kind of nice to have that. So those are just some different versions if you're interested in them. I got these kind of more natural tones of these big brushes. And I use them quite a few times, so I think messing around with the smaller size will be really fun. Oh, and this one, so these are brushes, and then where I put it, this one is a bullet tip, so like a fine liner. So there are different versions that you can play with. All right, let's dive in a bit more. So now we have our little bundle. Whoops. And our snack. I got a Warhead Extreme Sour Apple. Eat that later. All right, so I'm happy to see that I have a paint marker that is different than the one I already have. I got this one a while back, quite a while back. And this is the dark green, but I got straight up yellow this time. So those will be really nice together. And also, I don't have a lot of yellow paint markers, and yellow can be a really nice color to blend with, pop of color. So I think I just bought a Posca that was straight up yellow because I needed it, but it was a different size. So this will be really nice to have. One thing about these, and maybe it's user error, maybe it's just age, but the tip has kind of dried up, or maybe the paint is drying up. Maybe I've just used it too much. So this is the one here that's the dark green, and you can see it's kind of patchy and sort of like, I don't know, seen better days. You can, so maybe I just need a new nib. They are replaceable. Or maybe I've just used it too much. But I'm really excited to try out the yellow. So you can see the nib is reversible. And I've tried both sides on the other one. I think I just need a new nib. It's probably just been too long. So we got a bullet or a chisel. So we'll activate that later on. Also, tortillons or blending stumps. I have a number of these in different sizes. I try to keep like one's for graphite, just for graphite, one's for dried charcoal, just for that, and then oil-based ones because they don't always mix together. So you can always use more of these. These are big ones. 3/8 of an inch, 9 millimeter. And you can actually like sharpen these or rub them down on some sandpaper and then get to a new layer so you can kind of clean it up that way. We got our lovely spring sticker. That's nice. Little daisies for our April box. And then this is what I've been looking for. The Sennelier oil pastels, and just getting a peek, I'm really excited that I don't have these colors. Ooh! Okay. Let's see. So these are top of the line. I'm not a huge oil pastel person compared to other mediums that I work with, but over the past couple years, I've started to really get into them more. These are really nice colors. Like, look at that red. Wow, that's so vibrant. So we have, let's see. So these are French Sennelier. Permanent Intense Rouge Helios. So I think this is just a red. Like a straight up intense red. Number 220. Maybe it says under the paper, but it's kind of rolled on top of it. This one looks like Burnt Umber. Number 34. And Yellow Ochre, number 26. So this looks like fall to me, which is kind of a funny palette to get in April, but hey, that's okay. Also, these would be really nice for some skin tones, and then some pink, or red that you can use for lips, cheeks, maybe kind of blend together to make it less intense. I do have some other colors here. So these are other ones I've had before. This pink I really like for faces. It's Coral, number 236. It's beautiful steely blue, which I'm surprised I haven't used more of, but a little goes a long way. This is English Gray, really lovely. Those are nice together. These two are newer ones, so I had to get a yellow because I felt like I needed a primary palette. And Naples Yellow, number 21. And then also, I was just drawn to this gray-green, kind of an earth tone shadow color. Nice kind of sagey green. So those are two newer ones that I got. Those all go really nice with these. That'll be really wonderful. And then I also have an extender. Let's see what it says. Transparent medium, 221. And I got a Crepaz one as well, which I haven't tried out yet. But this one's really nice to work with these and kind of blend them together. So I also pulled out, just for fun, my old ones. These have seen better days. Sennelier is such a higher quality brand. So we have my craypas. Oh, look at those poor old things. They have definitely seen better days. Oops. I've had these, oh gosh, forever. Maybe since high school, maybe even older. Craypas is the most well-known brand. Pentel is right up there next to it. Some people even call oil pastels craypas, so those are the originals. These are in pretty decent shape, but some of them, just with time, they kind of, I don't know, like dry out or oxidize or something. So they're not as creamy as they used to be. And then when I moved to Seattle, I left all my art supplies, really most of them, back at home in storage. So I bought this other brand. Oh my gosh, what is in here? What's that? Just cheap brand to play around with. Pro Art. It's $3.50 for the whole box. And you can see these have definitely not aged well. So there's like this weird, like oxidizing. So I would definitely recommend, if you can afford it, to get Sennelier. If you're interested in oil pastels, they're really an investment. They're expensive. So start with something like craypas or Pentel if you're just not sure and you want to give them a try. I like to work with them as if they're in tandem with oil paints, or as a layer under oil paints to do like an underpainting or a drawing sketch before you start painting. I wish someone had told me that a long time ago, because I would have come around to oil pastels earlier, but it took some time because, I don't know, they're messy, they smush around, which if you don't know how to control it, or if you don't know how to let go, it can be a bit of an issue. These are some Crayola ones that I've had for a while that they're pretty decent for like cheap. These were free as a little sample. They're all right. I also tried, this thing is so old. I tried using this paint crayon, and I think I just got it when it was already too old, so it doesn't work very well. But I've had better success with this really cool artist paint stick. So these kind of skin over, and you have kind of like that one, but you have to like cut into it to reveal the mushy paint inside, and then you can kind of smush around with them. I like the big size, kind of fun. This is a really lovely Viridian green, like really rich, sort of like a mallard green, or maybe like an old-timey library you might see in this deep, rich green. So that's pretty cool. This one I haven't played with yet, but whoa, look at this big honkin' Sennelier paint stick. I got it on clearance. Actually cheaper than one of these babies. So that I thought was a pretty good deal. But I haven't dug into it yet because I was waiting for the perfect time, and I think this is it. So let's see, anything else? Get it all? Some tools that you can use with oil pastels. You can use blenders. So you might want to use just a regular old Q-tip, or I like these precision tips, a little more focused. So it's Q-tip brand. You can use these silicone sort of shaped tools. I have quite a few of these in like a paintbrush form. Those are a nice cleanup. This is like a scrubber brush. It's supposed to be for scrubbing watercolor paint to try to clean up a page, but I thought it was kind of a nice bristle. And then also I recommend trying it with actual bristle brushes. So like, oh man, this one's so beat up and old. I've had this forever. So don't use a really nice brush. Use an old brush that you don't necessarily care about, because you want it to be like a coarse brush, like a scrubber. I like these kind of smaller ones too, because they're a little more controlled. So I recommend those. I have some other brushes as well, some big ones too, but I think those are nice examples. And let's see what else. So you might want to try to scrape through. So these, I wanted to try to put down a base layer of color and then use the oil pastel on top and then scratch into it. So I have this scratcher tool, which is for a clay board. You can use other things to scratch, bamboo skewer or whatever. Even a pencil with a broken lead can work. Well, you could even use just a pencil and draw into it and then have the graphite as well. So try that. Let's see, I thought I had another scraper tool, but I don't know where I put it, and that's okay. I have some other daubers and blenders. These work best with like a water-based, because they're foam, or you can use just an actual scraper, like this palette knife, to scrape into it. This one's kind of blunt, but there are also some that, like this one, has a little more of a fine tip to it. Or you could go really blunt, and so you can make different marks with those. So, different options to play around with. For mediums, you can use Gamsol or any sort of paint thinner, but I prefer Gamblin Gamsol because it's odorless. And you can actually keep this and keep using it. I have a jar here that I use for my oil paints with a silicoil. I've had this, oh man, 15 years maybe, so it's well loved, but you use the coil to kind of scrape and clean your brush, and then all the pigment can settle in the bottom. Excuse me, get some coffee. New medium to me. Excuse me. I got safflower oil, solvent-free painting medium. So you could try that. That's also Gamblin. Solvent-free fluid. So this is a safflower, excuse me, painting medium as well. So those work together. This one I haven't played around with yet. It's a walnut-based alkyd medium from Mgram. And I just thought that was really cool because it's more natural, potentially. What else we got here? Got some other mediums, but I don't know that they necessarily apply. You could play around with any of those. Also, Gamblin makes a solvent-free gel. So that kind of goes with the solvent-free fluid, but this would make it more impasto, so that's kind of a fun product as well. Impasto means more like thick layers. So I was kind of hoping, even though the paint on Clairefontaine paper is very nice, I was hoping for maybe a new oil-based paper. This is one that I ended up just buying on my own. And here you can see I was just testing out some different colors that I had picked up of oil paint. And then also some acrylics and some ink and paint markers on that. And one thing with oils is it can soak through the paper. So this has a nice linen quality texture, and it soaked through a little bit, but you know, you can't really tell. This one, I was just playing around with some used up, like end of the palette paint, and then using the matte acrylic. And then I also added on some oil on top because I wanted to just test it out. So this is a really messy test sheet, but kind of fun. This is the Lennox cotton, and you can see it held up pretty well, but there are spots of oil that kind of seep through. Another thing with oil pastels is they don't really dry 100%. They can get a little messy. So I like to work on just an individual sheet, but if you do put them in a sketchbook, then you can use another sheet like this on the top, and then you will see some of it coming onto the other sheet. Sorry for my dog barking. Some other papers. I also picked up a Royal Talens acrylic paper, and these feel very comparable to the Paint On Clairefontaine paper. So let me show you these are new to me, both of these. This Royal Talens paper. This is pretty expensive paper. So this is for oil, and then this one's for the acrylic. So I'm going to give those a try. I also have some pastel papers here, but they are more for soft pastels, dry pastels. But I might give those a shot as well. So we'll see. All right, stay tuned for the next video to see a bit more about playing with those materials. And I hope you enjoyed this, maybe learned something, maybe want to try something new. Let me know if you have any questions, if you want to see more of these. I just got the May box a little bit early, so I plan to show that one in the near future. So stay tuned for that. I also just ordered some more paint markers, as if I don't have enough. So I'll go into other paint markers soon. I just went over some Poscas and dipped my toes in a little bit with other ones, but I have so many that I can share. So we'll try that one soon. Oh my gosh, my dog. I apologize. All right, it's time to go. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.